Welcome, my friend, to another tactics video here for FC24. If you're new to the channel, thank you very much for coming along. Welcome in. This is the home of tactics for FC24 on YouTube. No one else does it better, does it more accurately, puts more research and more time into doing these tactics, replicating them right here. So if you are new, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to get notifications every time I upload. Today, we are covering Domenico Tedesco's Belgium tactics. Of course, started off a little bit hesitantly with that loss to Slovakia, but had since recovered. And I think it's a good time to kind of get stuck into this system and see how it kind of shapes up today. We'll go through the formation, the position changes, the tactical instructions, and the player instructions as well. And so with that being said, enough being around the bush, and let's get on with it. So from a formation perspective then, we picked the 4-2-3 on wide, or whatever you prefer, and then we have made a couple of changes. First things first, Anana in this case we've got as the defensive midfielder. Tielemans is pushed up to central midfield. The reason why is that in particularly we wanted to get the free roam instruction on him, and obviously we can only do that with him being at central midfield. If he's at defensive midfield, you can only set him to deep line playmaker. That's not what we're looking for in this instance, because we don't really want him ever dropping between the centre backs. So we pushed him up to central midfield. He'll contribute to kind of all phases of play and just act as that, not only that pivot, but that ball progressor as well. And then of course you got De Bruyne at cam, and then Luka Bacchio and Doku are at right and left wing. We've kept the fullbacks as base fullbacks in this situation. I don't think they push up high enough, particularly when they're playing out from the defensive third, to really justify changing them to wing backs. So we've kept them as they are, as those base fullbacks. Now from a tactical perspective then, what do we have? Well, pressure on heavy touch for the defensive style, often instigated not only by, say, the striker, but also by someone like Kevin De Bruyne as well, who will often join up, push up two in line with Lukaku, and then instigate that press. So often it's someone like him who will instigate that press, and then when he goes, the unit will then push up and press with them as well. Team width is on 20, very compact and very narrow. Then the depth is up to 70, the lowest that you can have it in a high block before it becomes more balanced and generic. Offensively, we've got slow build-up for the build-up play, and then chance creation is actually on forward runs. There's a high emphasis on, yes, trying to progress the ball through the thirds, but there's a real high volume of movement, and in particular, you'll notice how dangerous they are in transition and on the counter-attack. One thing I should say, it's also not a case of just trying to run in behind. There's a lot of lateral movement as well. Players are trying to peel off from their man markers and just find space. Doku, Luka Bacchio, etc., Lukaku, De Bruyne, even Tielemans. These guys, they're not just looking to run in behind. There's a high volume of movement, both horizontally and vertically as well. And this is what we're really trying to emphasise with forward runs. Width is on 60. Again, similar to this, playing into that forward runs, is that yes, we have an emphasis on progressing through the thirds, but in order to really stretch out this team, make sure that they are getting to as much space as possible, it needs to be a bit wider than under 30, where it's going to be quite compact and quite narrow and an ultra possession system. In this case, we're going to stretch them out a little bit more and help play into that forward runs of where they're trying to get into space, again, horizontally as well as vertically. Players in the box is going to be on 6, and that's going to give you roughly 4 players in the box for crossing situations. And in the corners of free kicks, both of these are going to be on 4. So next up then, we have the player instructions for you, and I'm going to go through and tell you how it all kind of replicates. But first, before we do that, I quickly want to say, if you want to see how all my tactics rank and rate, you want to get access to exclusive tactics videos, such as Maresca's Chelsea, such as McKenna's Ipswich, such as Galatasaray. We've got the likes of Hirona on there. We've got Clermont's Rangers. We've got Rogers' Celtic coming as well, and a whole lot more. Check out my Patreon. Lots of fantastic perks and rewards on there. Behind the scenes videos of my scouting career. I am a real football scout, and I will have more news on that soon, by the way. So keep an eye out for that, as well as Discord server access, fantasy football access, and a whole lot more. As I say always, these guys are keeping the channel going. I know some people like to kind of complain and moan about, oh, we have to pay for this tactic, etc. But without this Patreon, honestly, this channel would not exist anymore. I couldn't justify putting in the amount of time that I do and being able to kind of commit this amount of time and research and editing and producing, etc. into what I do. So without these guys on Patreon, this doesn't exist anymore. So please do go and check it out, and I will really appreciate it. And I think you guys will really enjoy the perks on offer there as well. So back onto the player instructions then. Starting off with the goalkeeper, we've got him on comes across and sweeper keeper. He's been very good actually playing that sweeper keeper role, and I think this is actually something that they've actually found a benefit of, having obviously dropped Courtois, all the kind of drama around that, him and Tedesco, and it's really out working for them. I think he's very, very good in this situation. Oftentimes, particularly against Romania, players are getting in behind and he's on course and he's pushed out. His starting position is higher and it's really, really working for them. Next up with the two centre-backs, Vaes and Vertonghen, we've just made one change to Vaes in this case. Aggressive interceptions. He's one who does like to step up a bit more and kind of play on that front foot. So it's more of a personal change for him more than anything. And then with the two fullbacks, Castagna over on the right, we've got him on balanced attacking runs and then his run type is on overlap. As I've already said earlier, they aren't that out-and-out attacking fullbacks in the truest sense of the word. They aren't pushing up to be almost in line with the attacking players, but they will kind of contribute to attacking phases. So we've got them on balanced attack and then run type on overlap. And it is the same over on the other side with the left back as well, whether it be Tiarte, whether it be Carrasco, etc. The instructions are very much the same. Onana as the defensive midfielder, we've got him on cut passing lanes and also stay back whilst attacking. Now you could conceive him as more of a, not box to box, but someone who's going to filter between all three thirds and phases. However, we don't really want him running in beyond the striker, so in this case we do keep it on stay back whilst attacking. Interceptions, on aggressive interceptions, he's another one who's going to impose himself on the opponent with the ball. And then defensive position, cover wing, position freedom is stick to position. Tielemans at central midfielder then, we've already spoken about how we want more control over his positioning, so it is stay back whilst attacking. Again, we don't want him running in beyond Lukaku in this case, stay on the edge of the box with the crosses as well, but most importantly, positioning freedom on free roam, and that's what's going to get him dropping in between all three phases of play and really just finding lots of position, lots of space to pick up the ball, and also cover wing for his defensive position as well. De Bruyne as the central attacking midfielder, all over the place, very similar to what he's like at Manchester City really. Come back on defence, get into the box with the cross, but most importantly, again, positioning freedom, drift wide. We've already spoken about that lateral movement that they like to kind of, is a big part, huge part of their game actually. And he's really the epitome of that. We'll often see him, particularly on the right-hand side, drifting into the half channels and the half spaces in the right-hand side, just to pick up an ounce of space where he can pick up the ball and help with also generating numerical advantages on the right-hand side as well. With the two wingers then, Luca Bacchio, come back on defence for his defence support, and chance creation is cut inside. Support runs is getting behind, and support on crosses getting to the box with the cross. And this has been the same for whether or not it was him, whether or not we've seen Doku play on that right side as well. Occasionally Trossard did as well. The roles and the instructions very, very similar, despite if there is a change of personnel. Over on the other side with Doku, very much the same thing as well. Come back on defence, cut inside, get in behind, and also get into the box for the cross. So let's round off with Romelu Lukaku then up front. Drift wide for his support runs. Speaking about how he likes to drift into those half channels, those half spaces, because he likes to peel away from the centre back. And he does really, probably his best work in terms of his movement by doing that, really peeling away and getting into those half spaces. We've already spoken again, the horizontal movement, getting behind for his attacking runs, always looking to play on the last man, as we've seen with all of these offside goals already. And his defence support is going to be stay forward. And so with that being said, we're going to finish it there as we continue our Euro 2024 coverage. Keep an eye out on the channel over the next few weeks or so for more coverage of different Euro 2024 teams. We've already got a few systems out on them as well, so please do go and give them a look. As I said earlier in the video, don't forget to check out my Patreon because it is the best way to support the channel, and there are lots of fantastic perks on there, including exclusive tactics videos, the tactics package, behind the scenes videos, and a whole lot more. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to get notifications if you haven't done so already. And with that being said, until the next one, I will see you soon.